Eventually they'll make a new cow and then they'll start producing milk. And then price variations, you can plan when in the year you want to sell. So if we had any wheat, this is not a good time to sell wheat. This is a good time to sell wheat. This isn't too bad a time to sell wheat. And all of these prices after the first year are based on the best price last year. Oh, okay. So I can see that the best time last year was day 3 of winter. So that's when I'm going to want to think about selling my wheat. Excuse me. Sorry about that, back again. So you'll find that for wheat, barley, oats, the graphs are fairly close. Canola's a bit different. You sell that first day of winter. Sunflowers, it's all over the place. Should have sold them yesterday. They're not going to be good during winter. Actually, it looks like second day of spring. It's a good time to sell the sunflowers. Sugar beets we're also doing. This is the time I want to sell the sugar beets. Eggs vary. We have wool. I don't want to sell my wool now. The wool now is not worth almost double if I sell it at the end of spring. So you have to plan. Oh, now you see here, I've got hay pellets and straw pellets. I activated the straw add-on on the second day of the current year. So I have no idea what they're going to be worth until this point here. And it looks like it's a relatively consistent price, very little variation. So I can sell these pretty much all year round. But if I go and look at straw pellets, straw itself, it sells best over the new year. Animals similarly have variations in pricing. With sheep, this is the best time of year to buy them, and that's the best time of year to sell them, but it's not a big variation. That's a 2, that's a 2.5. Similarly with pigs, Berkshire, Gloucester, and then we have chickens. Good time of year to buy chickens. But anyway, so pricing, plan when to do your pricing. You can plan when to do your crop rotations. I've got basically concentrated on sugar beets, sunflowers and canola here. Oat, wheat and barley are all pretty much synonymous, so I can switch barley out for oats. It makes no difference to either of the crops. So this is year-on-year planning. I'm not going to end up, if I plant sugar beets and follow it up with a cereal, I'm going to get a poor cereal crop. If I did sunflowers, actually I would end up with a poor sugar beet after sunflowers. So looking at this, I want to plant sugar beets after barley, but I probably want to plant sunflowers after the sugar beets. That's interesting. Okay, I wasn't paying attention to that. but wheats and sunflowers is a good crop boost. That's a multiplier on your basic crop yield, and the same with canola. So I'll switch cereal, either sunflowers or canola, cereal, either sunflowers or canola, and that's a good alternation. So we kind of want to plant. Okay. It's kind of complicated. Pick yourself an easy map or a map that you know, and drop yourself into it. Also, watch some videos of people playing with seasons. And thank you for the follow. What am I doing? That was already lowered. That was already on. We're just driving down the road. Okay. Is working as the graphic. Okay. So it's kind of complicated, but it makes the game more realistic. Rather than being farming simulator game, it makes it more like farming simulator. And once you're used to it, you might find, hey, I really enjoy playing it this way. Yes, it's a challenge. It's more of a challenge to make money. But if I what's the word for it? If I take care of my resources, then it's just as easy to play with seasons as without. And I actually prefer the way it plays. And as a bonus in seasons, you also get 3 stages of fertilization rather than just 2 that you get in the base game. So that extra stage of fertilization can make up for the fact that, well, I'm losing out on failure to germinate, I'm losing out on moisture, I'm losing out on weeds that I can't be bothered to get rid of. Now, with the other thing I found, obviously with the weeds scattered around sporadically, you cannot use a worker to clear weeds, because the worker's just going to say, yep, I cleared that patch and I can't see any more weeds directly in front of me, so I'm done. So you have to manually weed the field yourself. But as a bonus, you can put herbicide on a field at any time after you've planted it, and you will not get any weeds until after you've harvested that field. So that's why there's no weeds on this field, because I ran a herbicide spray over it early on after planting, probably sometime during the summer. And that protects the field from weeds for the entire year. As soon as you've harvested it, the weeds will start springing up, as we've seen over by where the truck's parked. So that's kind of a bonus. Obviously, again, you have to do the herbicide by hand, because a worker's just going to look at it and say, I don't see any weeds here, so there's nothing for me to do. So you'll find when I'm playing seasons, I probably don't have a weeder. I probably should have a weeder, truth be told. But I don't usually run with them. I just wait until the weeds get completely out of hand, and as soon as I look at a field and say, okay, I'm done with weeds on this field, I'll just spray the field and get it safe from for weeds for the rest of the year. Sometimes I don't bother with weeds. I'll just say, the amount of weeds that are in this field, I can't be bothered to spend the money using herbicide to make 15% more yield in that tiny patch of ground. So for the entirety of this field, I think I've got that patch of weeds. Frankly, it doesn't concern me. Now later on it might, but right now there's just not enough weeds on this field for me to worry about. It's as bad as having a small patch that size of failure to germinate. Actually, it's better, because weeds don't affect your yield quite as much as a lack of crop growing in the patch. Okay, let's try and turn that on again. Now the other way I play is I will Google the region I'm playing in order to try and get the production closer to real life. It's not entirely true to life because there are so many crops out there that aren't in the game or are in the game but as mods. So I should probably be planting carrots on this farm. I don't have a mod installed that allows me to plant carrots, so carrots isn't a happening thing here. But you figure things out. It doesn't take long. I tend to play my first season's playthrough on a small map like Oldstream Farm and play it for 1 or 2 years through, just to see what's what. Just do arable farming at first. So I'm just going to plant crops, I'm going to harvest crops, I'm going to do contracts, I'm going to make some money, and I'm going to see where I end up after 2 years. And if I blow it, the farm's not that big, so you don't feel you've wasted much, and it gives you an idea to, okay, this is what I can do, this is what I can't do. Now I'm going to try a big giant farm and invest a lot of time in it. So, and this playthrough is a long-term playthrough. I do this every Saturday morning. I have been streaming Farm Sim for at least 2 hours a morning on Saturdays, unless I'm on vacation or some disaster happens like the power goes out. And that started September 2019. Yeah, because this is Farm Sim 19. So I was playing Farm Sim 17 at the time. I just bought this computer. And my previous computer was having a lot of struggles with law folds because of all the additional decoration around the farm and in the workshops. And I would have to drive up to the farmyards like this, because if I looked that way, there was so much stuff that needed to be plotted behind walls that my computer would just die. So got a new PC, figured yes, this PC is good enough to play Farm Sim and good enough to stream at the same time. So that's how this all started, and I played Law Folds until I think February the year Farm Sim 19 came out, after Farm Sim 19 came out, and then we called the Law Folds playthrough as done, and we started this one. Actually, we're on episode 38, so we've been going approximately, I would say, 42 weeks. Because I have taken some Saturdays off. That said, I've also done a couple of extras. I'll do extras for American holidays, so Thanksgiving Day will probably be a stream. In fact, for Thanksgiving Day weekend, we might do Thursday morning, Friday morning and Saturday morning, since I don't have to work on the Friday. And these are all days where Mrs. Osa likes to sleep in. So she doesn't really mind me streaming in the mornings. But yeah, so there are bonus episodes on American holidays. We had Labor Day last month. So there was a little bit of an extra bonus episode then. So possibly only since February this year we've been running this. I was kind of waiting for a farm that I liked and seasons to be out before I transferred my long-term playthrough. Part of the problem I tend to have with Farm Sim is if you want to watch a lot of Farm Sim streamers and or YouTubers, when the new game comes out, obviously they want to check out the new game and show it off to all their viewers. And I don't have a problem with that. But everybody's playing the same farm because there's only 2 farms in a Farm Sim release. And that's one of the reasons why I kept Lawfolds running for so long, was because everybody's playing Ravenport or whatever the other one was called, Felsbrunn, and I don't want to be playing the same farm that everybody else is playing. Now this farm came out a long time ago, and the popular YouTubers have already done their playthrough on this, and normally they'll play for about 2 months and then move on to a new map. So I'm probably one of the few people that's playing Oakfield Farm as a stream, and it's going to be going until at least Farm Sim 21 comes out, or 22, whatever they end up calling it, maybe even longer. I want to get this playthrough to a point where I consider it completed, and then we'll pick a new map in the next version of Farm Sim and introduce that one as our main playthrough. I used to stream during weekdays, but that's a little bit more difficult now since we actually have small people in the house. And so, yeah, I have to do family time in the evening. Okay, that's mostly done. And then what? I don't know. So yeah, as I was saying on the schedule, so we'll probably do a stream on Thursday nights, and I do want to try and tie up all the time, which is end of the first year. And when I started that, I did promise it to be a 2-year stint, to start from scratch with seasons on a small farm with a lot of mod equipment. And we'll try and see where that ends up. If I can get that one finished, I can close out that playlist and say, okay, that one's done. And then Thursday evenings will probably end up as another stream for a different map. Okay, I think this is the last load into the truck. Yep. Okay, let's go find the grass cutting device. At least we didn't end up going out of the field. We have that little edge there. Okay. We'll finish this field off, and then we'll take it down to the bottom. Do the other field. So yeah, the intent of this field, if it does manage to dry out, obviously that's a good thing for me, because I do need more hay for the sheeps. We have, as I said, 200 sheep now, and they eat an absolute ton of grass, or grass product. So being able to produce a lot of it is good. With this, and I'm basically what I'm saying here is I'm taking advantage of the fact that this fall is incredibly dry. looks like it's going to be fairly sunny. Normally our fall seasons are wet. The only thing I could consider doing with this grass is collecting it and throwing it in a silage bunker and selling it. But we may have the opportunity to make more hay, and that is always something I need to take advantage of. Spring is too wet for hay, and so is fall usually. Now we might get unlucky and it might get wet overnight, in which case it's not a thing that's going to work for us. Let's go back to the top of the field. So the top right hand side didn't get done, and probably along the top we'll have to tidy up. So back over here. Did that. Okay. I do have the Kverneland DLC added, so I could use Kverneland mowers. We started this playthrough before that DLC was dropped, so all we had access to was the Class Platinum DLC. This tractor is not part of the Class DLC. This tractor is actually a mod by CMT Software, Smetty. And I used his class equipment on Lawfolds quite extensively, so I made the decision to include at least one of his mods on this playthrough as well. Actually, the Fent tractor I have is also one of his. Although we haven't seen that today. Okay, that's done. I think mostly it's good enough. Oh, left. There we go. So yeah, that field just got planted earlier this game day, I think. Or was it last night? Remember. I think it was this game day we planted that one. That was our sunflower crop for the year. As I say, yeah, we're looking at the prices. Sunflowers is actually fairly good right now. But the problem is I'm using the grain truck for sugar beet haulage, so I don't have anything available that I can take sunflowers down to the storing. Take a look at this again. Okay, so this grass field here is actually an auxiliary sheep field. There's 3 on the map. There's this one, there's the one on the other side of the lane, and then there's the one we're actually using for our sheep. Okay, turn that. What's that? 180 degrees. Around about there. Okay. Lower that. Unfold that. Turn that on. Rear mower. Unfold and lower. And turn it on. Okay, now with the workers here, I found I have to. Let's go forwards. That's a good thing. drive it, and then turn the worker on, and the worker will do that, no problems. Hopefully the stuff at the side of the field is out of the way there. We have a full truck, so let's get that rolling. Oh, there's more than enough room there. Where's the postman? 1 o'clock, not bad. So, okay, so grass production in seasons. This is a lighter shade of grass than a normal cut in the base game, because grass itself comes in 3 forms. It comes in, let's call it wet grass, dry grass, and then hay. Now, wet grass does not dry out. It will decay after midnight of the day you cut it. Over time, the grass will disappear, which is one of the reasons why I'm not cleaning out the sheep trough, because that's dropping as grass and the grass will decay. So, and also the sheep aren't producing any wool at this time, so I don't need to consider their production at this point. Now, what we're cutting there is dry grass, because we don't have a wet crop icon. It's cut as dry, and it will automatically, given enough time and good drying conditions, and for good drying conditions we go here, drying potential. We actually have fairly good drying potential here. So that will translate into a shorter period of time for the grass to dry out. But I have to leave it to dry out. Once it's dry, it will turn to hay automatically. I don't have to take any further action. Wet grass, you have to ted. So once you've tedded wet grass, it becomes dry grass immediately, and then you just sit, wait for it, and as soon as it's dry, as soon as it's passed enough time, it will dry into hay. So that's the deal with grass. So at the moment, because I've cut dry grass, I have good drying potential. I'm actually considering trying to make as much hay as possible from it. Pop up, sir, 2. Hello, good morning, welcome to the stream. How's your Saturday progressing? And we will drop that there. So yes, this is all of our sugar beets for 1 season. That's kind of a lot. I'm never going to make this many sugar beets ever again, because this has taken way too long. It was kind of like the last harvest in Lawfolds. I planted a ton of corn and whole cropped the entire load, and I ended up with over 7 million litres of silage over 4 silage clamps, about 1.5 in each, and then the rest down at the cow farm. So lots. And yeah, I am never going to do that much corn as a whole crop harvest ever again, because it took me ages. And why have you stopped? Oh, you haven't. Trying to figure out how to turn around. So it looks like we have a little bit of a problem there with the mowing. It's missed an entire row, but we can go back and tidy that up. I'll probably do along the front here as well. I'm getting close to considering a new angle to take the harvester on. Cool. we're actually not making bad progress on this. Oh. I need to clean out this corner a little. We'll do that next time I empty. So what other things have we got going on? In fact, the tractor we're driving here is a Valtra T, 210 horsepower. It's a mod, which was originally available on FS UK mod website, which unfortunately doesn't exist anymore. So I'm not sure if it's available elsewhere anymore. But the pack itself contained all 4 of the base game Valtras, but with more engine options. So you can actually get this in a smaller engine. Oh, hello. I have just harvested 250 acres. That's cool. And also more wheel options. And it's limited to what I understand as official Valtra colours. So this is a metallic silver. I do love that colour. But you can't get the lizard colours on it.
Dang.
Ooh, what is that? L33V Cura. Welcome to the stream and welcome to Saturday. How's your day going?
Get the person.
And thank you for the ad. Oh, lots of people coming through with an ad. That's nice. Oh, Levi. Okay. Well, welcome, Levi. So, yes. I think the pack is well worth it compared with the base game, because you do end up with, as I say, you could get a Valtra A with about 130 horsepower, thereabouts, which is nice. You can have, as I said, this Valtra with the smaller one, at least a 190 horsepower engine, which makes it cheaper than the in-game option, because the in-game option I think starts at 210. And then you have this wheel setup, which is twin narrows at the back, but they're spaced out so that I believe traditionally you use that for root crop. This actual setup, where you need more rubber on the ground to reduce the weight of the tractor, or distribute the weight of the tractor more fully. But you don't want to be driving over your sugar beets.